My parents said it casually, like they were telling me they'd be late for dinner. 3 weeks, my mom said, snapping the suitcase shut. Barcelona and Lisbon. We need this. I nodded because nodding was easier than asking why no one had asked me. You'll be fine, she added, smiling the way she did when she wanted something to sound smaller than it was. You're mature, Lucy, not a baby anymore. Before I could answer, my dad slid something onto the kitchen counter. A small stack of bills and a plastic card with a piece of tape on it. The tape said emergency only in his handwriting. There's $75 in cash, he said. And the card, just in case of what I asked. My mom leaned down and kissed the top of my head. Just in case you need food. Order something. Easy. The door closed before I could say anything else. The story you are about to hear is a fictional work created by the writing team of the channel Revenge Pulse, inspired by real-life situations to convey lessons about family, emotion, and human values. All characters and events are illustrative. I stood in the kitchen staring at the counter long after their car pulled away. $75. A card I didn't understand. No note. No list. No number taped to the fridge. I told myself they wouldn't leave if they didn't think I could handle it. That's what mature meant. Right. That night, I tried the card on my phone. The app rejected it, again and again. I texted my mom. The card isn't working. No reply. I texted my dad. Do you know the PIN? Nothing. By morning, the house felt louder without them. The fridge hummed. The clock ticked. I counted slices of bread like they were something I could lose. At school, I told my friends my parents were traveling. I said it like it was normal. I laughed when they laughed. When I got home, I lined the money up on the table. I told myself I was lucky. Other kids didn't get trusted like this. Still, that night, I ate slower than usual. I folded the empty wrapper neatly and set it aside, like proof I was being careful. If you've ever stayed longer with a story because you wanted to see if the kid would be okay, keep listening. I didn't know it yet, but this was the last day anyone could say they didn't know what they were doing to me. I waited until lunchtime to try again, like timing might change the answer. I held my phone with both hands and entered the card number carefully. I double-checked the expiration date. I left the PIN field blank because I didn't have one. Declined. I tried a different food app. Then another. Declined. 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 I called my dad. Straight to voicemail. I called my mom. It rang long enough to make my chest tighten, then stopped. I didn't leave a message. Messages sounded desperate. When I got home, I set the card on the counter like it might explain itself if I stared long enough. I counted the cash again. $75 didn't look smaller than it had the night before, but it felt lighter. I opened the fridge. Half a loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, one apple with a soft spot. I whispered, "Okay," to nobody. That night, my mom finally texted, "Busy day." "Are you good?" I typed back. "The card isn't working." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. A minute later, another message came through. "You're smart. You'll figure it out." I stared at the screen until it dimmed. At school the next day, I sat with my friends and smiled when they smiled. When someone offered me half their sandwich, I said, "I'm not that hungry." By the time I got home, my hands were shaking. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself this was what being trusted felt like. That night, I ate 1 slice of bread and folded the bag closed like it mattered. I lined the money back up on the table before bed, all facing the same direction. I didn't know it yet, but the card wasn't broken. It was never meant to work. By the 3rd day, pretending had become a routine. At lunch, I sat with my friends and peeled the label off my juice bottle instead of opening it. When Emma slid her fries toward me, I pushed them back. "I ate earlier," I said. She shrugged. "Your loss." I smiled like it didn't matter. In math class, the room tilted when I stood up. I grabbed the edge of my desk before anyone noticed. Mr. Alvarez paused mid-sentence. "Lucy," he said gently. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said too fast. He studied me for a second longer than I liked. "You look pale." "I didn't sleep much," I said. That part was true. He nodded, but he didn't turn back to the board right away. He wrote the homework assignment and added, "If you need to go to the nurse, you can—" I said, "After class." He stopped me at the door. "Did you eat lunch?" "Yes," I said, meeting his eyes. He let me go, but his concern followed me down the hall. At home, I dropped my backpack and checked the fridge again, like something might have appeared out of guilt. It hadn't. I counted the money. Still the same amount. Still not enough. My mom posted a picture that night. Blue water. White buildings. A caption about finally breathing. I typed a comment, then erased it. Instead, I opened my notebook for homework and stared at the blank page. My hands were unsteady, and for the first time, I wondered how long I could keep saying I was fine before someone decided not to believe me. I didn't plan to start a record. It just happened. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with my notebook open for homework and couldn't remember what the assignment was. My head felt thick, like everything moved slower than it should. I flipped to a blank page and wrote one word at the top, pressing hard enough that the pen dented the paper. Evidence. I stared at it for a long time. Then I wrote the date. Then the amount of money they left. $75. Then the card. Emergency only. Declined. Then the calls. None answered. Seeing it written down changed something. It stopped feeling like I was overreacting and started feeling like I was counting. I picked up my phone and opened the camera. My face on the screen looked smaller than I expected. Day 5, I said quietly. I'm still alone. I paused, listening to the house. Nothing answered. The card doesn't work. I continued. I have bread and peanut butter left. I skipped lunch today. My voice shook, and I stopped the recording. My thumb hovered over delete. If I erased it, this could still be a bad week instead of a bad truth. I saved it. Later, my dad texted, "Everything okay?" I typed back. "The card still isn't working. I'm almost out of food." The reply came fast this time. "You're resourceful. Loose. We trust you." I set the phone down next to the notebook. Trust. It sat there like something heavy that didn't belong to me. I added another line under the first list. No food plan, no check-ins. My hand hesitated. Then I wrote one more sentence, smaller than the rest. If something happens to me, this proves I didn't imagine it. I closed the notebook and slid it under my backpack, not to hide it, but to keep it safe. That was the moment I stopped waiting for them to notice. I started making sure someone else would. I felt dizzy in the hallway before lunch and didn't bother hiding it this time. Mr. Alvarez noticed. He didn't raise his voice or make a scene. He just said, "Lucy, come with me." An hour later, I was sitting in a small office across from a man I'd seen before but never really looked at. Mr. Andrew Collins, the school counselor. His voice was calm in a way that didn't ask permission. "I've tried calling your parents," he said. "Both numbers." I shrugged. "They're traveling." "How long?" 21 days. He didn't react right away. He wrote something down. "Who's staying with you?" I pressed my lips together. "No one." He closed the notebook slowly. "I'm going to drive you home." In the kitchen, he stood very still. His eyes moved from the counter to the fridge to the card taped there. "Have you eaten today?" he asked. "Not really," I said. "How much food is left?" "Bread, peanut butter, and the card. It doesn't work." He took a breath that sounded controlled. "Lucy, how long have you been alone?" 5 days. He met my eyes. There was no panic in his face, just certainty. "This isn't you being independent," he said. "This is neglect." The word landed hard. Neglect sounded official, like something that couldn't be laughed away. I didn't want to get them in trouble. I said. He nodded once. I know. That's usually how this goes. He stepped closer to the table where my backpack rested. Do you want help? I thought about the notebook inside. The word I'd written in all caps. Yes, I said, but I want them to see what they did. He didn't argue. He reached for his phone instead. Then we're going to do this the right way. Mrs. O'Neill opened the door before Mr. Collins even knocked. She looked at his face, then at mine. Oh, she said softly. Come in, Lucy. She didn't ask what happened. She didn't ask why. She just moved a chair away from the table and said, Sit. Mr. Collins spoke first. Her parents are out of the country. She's been alone. Mrs. O'Neill's mouth tightened. How long? 5 days. I said. She nodded once, like she was filing it away. Have you eaten today? Not really. That was all it took. She turned back to the stove and said, We'll fix that. I watched her move without rushing. No speeches, no questions that made me feel small. She set a bowl in front of me and slid it closer. You don't have to finish it, she said. Just start. My hands shook when I picked up the spoon. Mr. Collins stepped aside and spoke quietly to her. I'm calling child services. I wanted you here so she wouldn't be alone. Good. Mrs. O'Neill said. She shouldn't be. I swallowed and said, I didn't mean to cause problems. Mrs. O'Neill turned back to me. You didn't cause anything. You survived it. I felt my throat tighten. They said I was mature. She met my eyes. Mature children still need adults who show up. Mr. Collins returned to the table. Lucy, this doesn't mean yelling or punishment. It means safety. I nodded slowly. I want help. He waited. I also want them to know. I added, everything. Mrs. O'Neill pulled her chair closer. Then we'll make sure they can't look away. For the first time since my parents left, I wasn't trying to be strong. I was being held in place by people who didn't expect anything from me except the truth. Ms. Erin Walsh arrived with a soft voice and a hard folder. She shook my hand like I mattered. I'm here to make sure you're safe, she said. Not to get anyone in trouble. Mr. Collins didn't correct her. Mrs. O'Neill stayed close, her hand resting on the back of my chair. Ms. Walsh walked through the kitchen slowly. She opened the fridge. She looked at the counter. She picked up the card with the tape on it. This was never activated, she said, not to me, but into her notes. She turned to my phone. You said you recorded some things. I unlocked it and played the first video. My own voice filled the room, thin and careful. Day 5. Still alone. Card declined. Ms. Walsh paused the screen. I'll need a copy of that. I nodded. There's more. She didn't look surprised. She asked for call logs. I showed her the gaps. Days with nothing. She asked about money. I told her $75. She wrote it down without reacting. Did your parents tell anyone to check on you, she asked. No. Did they contact the school? No. She set the pen down. Okay. Later. She asked me to write a statement. My hand shook at first. I wrote about the bread, the skipped lunches, the way my mom told me I was mature like it meant I didn't need help. Ms. Walsh read it carefully. This is clear, she said, and it's honest. Mrs. O'Neill came back with grocery bags and laid the receipts on the table. Keep these, Ms. Walsh said. They show what wasn't here before. When my phone buzzed, my stomach dropped. My dad's name. They moved their flight up, I said. Ms. Walsh looked up. That happens. Mr. Collins asked, Are you ready for them to come home? I closed the folder myself and slid it to the center of the table. Yes, I said. I'm not hiding anymore. Ms. Walsh nodded. Then neither will the truth. The car pulled into the driveway fast, like speed could undo time. My mom came through the door first, suitcase still in her hand. What is this? She said, scanning the room. Why are there strangers in my house? Ms. Walsh stood up. I'm Aaron Walsh with Child Services. We need to talk about Lucy. My dad dropped his bag. This is ridiculous. She's fine. My mom turned to me. Lucy, what did you tell them? I felt my shoulders tighten. Mr. Collins didn't step in front of me, but he stayed close. I told the truth. I said. My mom's voice sharpened. Do you have any idea what this looks like for us, Ms. Walsh answered before I could. It looks like a child left alone without supervision, adequate food, or a working emergency plan. My dad laughed once. Too loud. She's capable. We trusted her. You trusted her to survive. I said. The words surprised me with how steady they sounded. You didn't trust yourselves to show up. My mom's eyes flashed. We left money. $75, Ms. Walsh said, and a card that was never activated. My dad stepped forward. We told her to order food. Ms. Walsh opened her folder. Who did you tell would be checking on her? Silence filled the space. My mom looked at my dad. My dad looked at the floor. No one. Ms. Walsh said calmly. That's what the record shows. My mom shook her head. This is being blown out of proportion. Mr. Collins spoke quietly. Lucy nearly fainted at school. She didn't say anything. My dad snapped. I tried. I said, You told me to figure it out. My mom turned back to me, her voice lowering. You should have called. You shouldn't have involved outsiders. Ms. Walsh lifted my phone from the table. Lucy documented what was happening. Are you comfortable with us playing one of the recordings? My mom's mouth opened. Closed. This isn't necessary, my dad said. Ms. Walsh looked at me. Lucy, this is your choice. I stared at the screen. The paused image showed my face from days ago, smaller and tired. Play it, I said. My voice filled the room. Day 5. I'm still alone. My mom covered her mouth. My dad sank into a chair. When the video ended, no one spoke. My mom whispered, This can't be happening. I met her eyes. It already did. Ms. Walsh folded her hands. Based on the evidence, Lucy will remain in temporary placement. Contact will be supervised. My mom turned to me, tears breaking through. Tell them you want to come home. I took a breath. I want to be safe. My dad looked away. Ms. Walsh nodded. That's the priority. I didn't feel brave. I felt finished with pretending. No one rushed to say anything after the decision. The room felt heavier, like the air had learned what we were capable of now. My mom reached for me, then stopped halfway, like she'd remembered the rules too late. Lucy, she said, softer this time. We can fix this. Ms. Walsh didn't raise her voice. For now, Lucy will stay with Mrs. O'Neill. Visits will be supervised. That's not fair. My dad said, We made a mistake. We didn't mean you didn't check, I said. My hands were shaking, but I kept them at my sides. You didn't ask if I ate. You didn't ask if I was scared. My mom's eyes filled. We thought you were strong. I was, I said. I just shouldn't have had to be. She sank into the chair my dad had left. Say you want to come home, she whispered. Please, just say it. Mrs. O'Neill shifted closer to me. She didn't touch me, but I felt the steadiness of her presence. Ms. Walsh looked at me. Lucy, you don't have to decide anything beyond what feels safe right now. I nodded. I know. My dad cleared his throat. If you stay, people will talk. I already know, I said. They talked when you left. They just didn't know why. My mom pressed her hands together. We were overwhelmed. We needed a break. I needed parents, I said. The words didn't come out angry. They came out tired. Ms. Walsh slid a paper across the table. This outlines temporary placement and supervised contact. There will be counseling requirements and a hearing date. My mom stared at the page. You're taking our child. No, Ms. Walsh said. We're protecting her. I stepped forward. My voice felt steadier than my legs. I want to stay where I am, I said. I want to be somewhere I don't have to prove I deserve food. My mom sobbed then, openly. My dad turned away. Mr. Collins spoke for the first time in a while. Lucy did the right thing. My mom looked up sharply. By humiliating us, by surviving. He said, when it was time to leave, I grabbed my backpack. The notebook was inside, heavier than it should have been. At the door, my mom said my name one more time. I paused. I didn't ruin anything. I said, I just stopped hiding it. I walked out before she could answer. The night air felt different, like it wasn't pressing in anymore. Behind me, the door closed. This time, it didn't trap me inside. Weeks passed without announcements. No one told me things were better. They just felt different. Mrs. O'Neill asked every morning, did you sleep, and waited for the answer. Mr. Collins checked in once a week. You're doing well, he said. Not like praise, but like confirmation. My parents sent messages through the office. Long ones, careful ones. Apologies shaped to sound responsible. I read them slowly and handed them back without replying. One afternoon, Mrs. O'Neill and I walked past my old house. The blinds were open, the lights were on. 2 suitcases stood by the front door. They haven't unpacked, she said quietly. I nodded. They didn't know what they were coming back to. Inside. My mom stepped forward when she saw me. She stopped herself before crossing the line marked by adults who were now watching. We're trying, she said. We're doing everything they asked. I know, I said. My dad stood behind her, hands in his pockets. We didn't think it would go this far. It didn't go far. I said, it went true. The caseworker cleared her throat. Lucy, do you feel comfortable speaking today? I looked at my parents. Not angry, not scared. I'm okay, I said. I just need time. My mom's shoulders fell, not in defeat, in understanding. Later, as we walked away, Mrs. O'Neill squeezed my hand. You don't owe anyone forgiveness on a schedule. At home, I placed my notebook on the shelf instead of hiding it in my bag. Evidence didn't need to travel with me anymore. It had done its job. That night, I sat at the table and ate until I was full. No counting. No saving for later. If this story stayed with you longer than you expected, it's probably because someone once told you to be strong when what you needed was protection. If you've lived something like that, you're not alone. Sometimes telling the truth is the bravest way to take care of yourself. They packed for freedom. I packed proof. And when they came home, they finally understood something they never asked before. I was never asking to be trusted. I was asking to be seen.